Well, Happy New Day, CSA. I welcome all of you to today's lesson sermon, which will be delivered by CSA Minister Reverend Isaac Eshun. So, will you all join me to welcome Mr. Eshun?
Happy New Day, CSA. Over the last 2 weeks, we have had wonderful lectures by Auntie Peace, What Are You Being? And Reverend John last week, who told us or shared with us how to live a balanced life between the spiritual and the material. Today, I'm here to continue on that theme of how to live. And my topic for today is learn to make your life worthwhile or fruitful. Learn to make your life worthwhile or fruitful. One thing I've noticed is that in this part of the world, we have problems with living. The main reason is simple. We are here to take as much as we can from life and not put anything back. So the first thing is we should learn to eschew selfishness. You see, the first line of our original blessing tells us, I am a life-giving spirit, not a life-getting spirit. So immediately we turn our attention from what the little self or the ego wants to get from life into what we want to give. Immediately our perspective of life changes. In going through to get material for my lesson sermon, I noticed that Roy Jean Davis, our beloved guru of Reverend Samuel Sasu, has written extensively about this. So they say give credit where credit is due. So most of my lecture, the credit will go to him. In the True Journal, January to March 2008, he asked the question, what is your life for? What is your life for? And in the Simplicity of Spiritual Enlightenment, chapter 3, he tells us the topic is make your life worthwhile. Okay. Once our life is a ray, or we are rays of God's consciousness, we should know that we are here for a purpose. There is nobody who is not here for a purpose. So if you haven't discovered your purpose in life, now is the time to ask yourself some pertinent questions. Roy says, when you know why you are in this world and do your utmost to successfully accomplish your major purposes, you will live as you are meant to live and prepare yourself for what you are to do and experience for the rest of your immortal life. What he means by immortal life is that this incarnation we are in is not the only life which we will live. In fact, we have lived before, and after this life too, we will live again. So let us not look at it in terms of just one incarnation. I remember last weekend I was at a funeral, and this low-cost pastor kept on, everybody will die, the rich will die, the poor will die, everybody will die. When he was giving money at the funeral, he gladly accepted it. And I was saying, what happened to your preaching? You should remember that you are going to die, so why are you taking the money? You see, but that is what we usually do. We let envy and jealousy, you see, determine what we will think and what we will do. I remember before I joined CSA, I also had the same thinking, that all rich people were thieves and they were stealing from us, you see. But when I learned to rejoice in people's happiness, in people's prosperity, it also made me prosperous. So please, let us rejoice when others are prosperous, and when we are not prospering, let us find out the reason why we are not prospering. That is why Roy is telling us that when we know why we are in the world, when we find our purpose in life, it is like a mango tree. When it finds its purpose in life, it gives off its mango fruit. Oranges, when they find their purpose in life, they give off oranges. So we too have a purpose in life, and let us try to discover the purpose why we are here. He says, at the inmost level of your being, you know why you are in this world. At the innermost level of our being, when you are mentally and emotionally calm, and your thinking is rational, acknowledge your spiritual essence and relationship with the infinite. Examine your life, what you have done and experienced, and your current circumstances. In fact, that even brings me to the first thing to do in our experience or our relationship with life is to reconnect with God. You see, for many of us, we have separated ourselves from God, and that is the parable of the prodigal son. You see that he said, oh, let me take what I have and go and live on my own, because that way I will prosper. But when he found out that he had made a mistake, he came back to his father. He came back to his father in consciousness. So let us learn a lesson from the parable son, that the first thing we have to do is to live a fruitful and worthwhile life, eschew selfishness, and then reconnect with our source. And that is why in CSA, we have one of our major pillars as meditation. You see, resting in the awareness of our true nature. If you don't know who and what you are, and you do not know how to meditate, luckily now there are many ministers. So I'll suggest that you contact any of them, and then you learn how to meditate. Also too, when we started on the spiritual path, Reverend taught us that occasionally come to him and review your meditation practice. How many people do it now? You see, we come here Tuesday, we come here Thursday, and we are alone. You see, so please, I think Reverend John, I don't think anybody has, to the best of my knowledge, nobody has approached him and he has turned anybody away. He's always happy to share. So please, Father Abraham to an Auntie Peace, I don't think if you go there and tell her, oh, Auntie Peace, my meditation is not going on well. How can I deepen my meditation? I don't think any of them will turn you away. So let us do that constantly. Try to review our meditation practice with the ministers. Okay, Roy goes on to say, have you been living up to your full potential to experience excellence in all aspects of your life? Have you been living up to your full potential to experience excellence in all aspects of your life? Or are you being mediocre? Oh, after all, it's okay. They said do meditation 20 minutes. If I've done 5 minutes, it's okay. Let me get up and go. There are more important things to do. There are not more important things to do. You have to get the basics right. And one of the basics is meditation. Another one is self-discipline. So if you are not practicing self-discipline, then you are in big trouble. You see, nobody is going to come and put a stick to your back and tell you do this or do that. But you on your own should learn to do things which make your life worthwhile or fruitful. It's imperative on each and every one of us to make a difference in this world or this universe. I remember during the week, in fact Thursday, I went to pump my car tire. And I've not been to the guy for about 6 months, because when my vision became poor and all that, I used to go very early in the morning, come very early in the morning, and on the way I bought water. And both places, when I went to buy the water, the young man said, hey, we haven't seen you for ages. And I said, so you remember me? He said, yes, we remember you. And when I went to pump the tire too, the same thing with the vulcanizer. He too said, hey, it's been some time. I said, you remember? He said, yes, we remember you. So which means that I'm making a difference. That is why they remember me. And even the vulcanizer, I forgot to tell him the pressure of the tie. But when I asked him, he said, do you remember? He said, yes, 35. And he pumped all of them 35. So please, you may think that you are not making a difference where you are. But I can assure you that if you live a fruitful life, your blessings will fall on others. In fact, the taxi drivers in my area, Dansoman, where I stay, all of them are my friends. Why? Because I tell them that once in a while, in fact, a lot of the times when I'm going nearby, I don't go with the car, I go and take them. And I said, I want you people to get money. So let's go. So all of them are my friends, you see. So please, selfishness doesn't pay. Let us learn to expand our consciousness and be fruitful. Live a life which is worthwhile. Live a life which is fruitful. You see, currently in CSA, I think most people, when they have problems with their IT and others or whatever, we go to Derek, Cyril, or John Siade, which means they are being fruitful. That is why we consult them. So please, whatever, you see, not everybody can be an engineer. Not everybody can be a trader. Not everybody can be a minister of God. But wherever and whatever you find yourself doing, make sure that you make a difference. Do it excellently. That is why Roy is saying that, have you been living up to your full potential to experience excellence in all aspects of your life? Do you sincerely want to be spiritually enlightened? That is another thing which we have to look at. Do we want to be spiritually enlightened? You see, sometimes words are confusing. When we say spiritually enlightened, maybe people have their own definition of what is spiritually or spiritual enlightenment. Maybe it is to have powers, to change stone into bread, multiply fish. That is not the thing. To be spiritually enlightened means to know the truth of life. You see, that is all. When you know the truth of life, then we say that you are spiritually enlightened. And Mahavata Babaji said that a little practice of this way of life saves one from great fear of death. You see, he didn't say that to be spiritually enlightened, you can fly through the air, snap your hand, and all kinds of miracles will occur. He said no. You see, it will save you from great fear of death, because a lot of people, or most people, when they hear that death is coming, then maybe including myself, when we hear that death is around the corner, we are very, very fearful. But when we know that we have lived a fruitful and positive life, when it comes for us to quit the scene or to go, we go gleefully, knowing that we have done our part and there is nothing more that we can do. So let us live life to our full potential. Have you allowed your mind to be confused and your awareness to be deluded, to be clouded and fragmented because of being too concerned with or involved with in situations that were superficial or purposeless? You see, this is a very important point. What are we living our lives? What kind of lives are we living? Are we living a purposeless life? Are we living a purposeful life? You see, when we live a purposeful life, it encompasses all aspects of our life. I want to stress that again. It encompasses all aspects of your life. So let us not think that you can eat junk food, but you can think positively. It won't help you, you see. So let us try to live right, eat right, think right, and then act right. That is very, very important. Remember all aspects of your life. Have you allowed your mind's whims or compliant acceptance of the non-useful opinions or the behaviors of others to determine your thoughts and actions? Another very important point. Have you allowed your moods, whims, or compliant acceptance of the non-useful opinions or behaviors of others to determine your thoughts and actions. You see, when we were growing up, we tried to be like tough guys in school. You see, well, it was a bad move because most of them were not living any purposeful life. I mean, they were living lives with drug abuse, maybe, and other things which may be, okay, we all know non-useful behaviors. So let us determine, or let us tell ourselves that my life should have purpose. If for nothing at all, let me live for God. If you don't want to live for anybody, learn to live for God. And when you learn to live for God, you learn to live for others too, because God is the only creator, the only one in the universe. And they say, search it ananda, existence, consciousness, being. You see, there is none other in this universe. So if we don't maybe want to live for others, let us learn to live for God. And through that, we will learn to live a purposeful life. Remember last week what John said, the spiritual and the material in actual fact should merge into one life. So let us also go back and play his tape or his message lesson sermon and learn something useful from it. Again, in Make Your Life Worthwhile, which is the simplicity of spiritual enlightenment, chapter 3, Roy writes, although the ultimate purpose of life for one who is not spiritual enlightened is to awaken to that stage, people ask the questions, how can I discover my right place in life? And he says that those who ask this question, my right, usually want to know what will be of value to them on a day-to-day basis. If you do not feel that your life is worthwhile, again, very important, day-to-day basis. You know, sometimes let us take it one step at a time or one day at a time. That way, we will not be overwhelmed by maybe learning to make a change. Sometimes turning your attention or learning to make a change is difficult when you look far ahead and you think that, oh, maybe this problem I have, or this challenge I have, or this lack or limitation is overwhelming me. Let us learn to do it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. He says, pray about it, then be still and observe your thoughts and feelings. Pray about it, then be still, meditation, and observe your thoughts and feelings. Then he says, write the thoughts and feelings that arise. If insight with a sense of certainty does not occur, be patient. You see, in fact, a lot of his writings, Roy tells us to write down what will work for us and also what will not work for us. I remember Reverend told us that when he became serious on the spiritual path, he took a sheet of paper and divided it into two. On one side, he wrote the things he felt will help him achieve his goals of life. And on the other side, he wrote the things which will not help him achieve his goals of life. Then he tore the paper into two, threw away or discarded the things which will not help him achieve his life, and pasted on his wall or on somewhere in his room where he could see the things which would help him achieve his aims of life. And every day he would look at it and remember it. Again, if I may bring your mind to 31st December, you see what happens. Anytime we have the end of year service, Reverend will tell us to write what we do not want, the things we want to discard from our lives. And he will go and burn them to give us a fresh start in life. So please, it is very important when you want to make a change, write down your goals, write down what will help you, write down what will not help you, and then use this to guide your life. He says, ask if I have the freedom, skills, and resources to do what I want to do, what would I do? Write the response. He says, ask yourself the question, if you have the freedom, skills, and resources to do what I want to do, what would I do? You see, here we are looking at possibility thinking. You see, write down what you want to do if you had the resources. You see, most of the time, people who have been successful will tell you that they never looked at their limitations. They looked at always what would be possible. What can I do? I want to do this project. If I start with what will not work, what I do not have, it will discourage me. So let me look at the project. Let me look at possibilities. And that is what Roy is talking about. Ask yourself, if I had the freedom, skills, and resources to do what I want to do, what would you do? And he goes on to say that when you are purposeful, when you are certain about what to do and why, your clear mental picture of ideal possibilities and your conviction that you'll be successful in your right endeavors, on your right endeavors, will attract supportive responses from cosmic mind, of which your mind is a part. You see, when you become positive and the universe is convinced that what you want to do will help you and help others, you will attract all the resources you want to do or need to do or need for your project. And so it is. You see, if you ask Father Abraham, who is successful in treating people with things like malaria and the other one, typhoid, you see, when he wanted to do that, to help mankind, he looked at the project. Life has brought all the things for him. Abraham had a life. Thank you. He's nodding. He agrees with me. So when you want to do that, be positive. When Reverend wanted to know God, he told us that he came to Ghana and he prayed sincerely that, Lord, if this is my way, open it for me. If not, close it. He said within 2 weeks, he was back in America. And he went there. The time even he went, he didn't tell Roy he was going. But strangely enough, everything worked out. And they were even on recess during the Christmas. And he went, and the first person he met were two small boys who directed him to Roy. So please, know here and now that if you want to do something and it is positive, it will make an impact on people's lives and change the course of history. Life will bring about the people and the circumstances to make it happen. Okay, and he said that your self-confidence will increase. Your functional skills will be greatly improved. It will be easy for you to think constructively and to perform intentional actions which will continue in your well-being, which will contribute to your total well-being, Remember, as you endure envy and jealousy and you wish people well, you are part of creation. So you are wishing yourself well. That is why they say, do unto others as you have them do unto you. Now, Roy says that there are 4 aims of life to accomplish. What are these 4 aims? 1, to live in harmony with spiritual, mental, and physical laws of cause and effect, in accord with your ability to do it. Again, to live in harmony with spiritual, mental, and physical laws of cause and effect, in accord with your ability to do it. You see, let us not kid ourselves. We live in a world of cause and effect. So when you come to CSA, they said, ask yourself the question, if what is happening to me, why am I causing it? If I'm not causing it, why am I allowing it? You understand? So when you look at it, it means you have to be self-responsible for whatever happens to you in your life. You have to learn responsibility. Each and every one of us has to learn responsibility. You see, let us not kid ourselves. We know the truth, too. We know how to be responsible, and we know how to be also irresponsible. So if you realize that being irresponsible is not bringing you anything of value, please change. There is nothing good. They said it's only a fool who doesn't change his mind. So let us learn to be responsible. Again, he says that to live in harmony with spiritual, mental, and physical laws of cause and effect in accord with your ability to do it. Then he says, have constructive desires easily fulfilled. You see, again, when we talk of having desires easily fulfilled, you see, maybe we have been hurt in life. So now we say, oh, having money is bad. Having money is never bad. You see, having money is good because it helps you fulfill your desires. You understand? So that is why he's saying that have constructive desires easily fulfilled. You see, luckily, again, I want to stress, we the ministers are here for your benefit. If you have any challenges, if you have any problems in life, maybe with financial or whatever, please see any of us. Reverend is always there to help you. It is not a one-day thing. You will not achieve financial emancipation in one day or 1 week. It doesn't happen that way. But gradually, we can work with you, try to find out what is the blockage, what is it that is causing you not to prosper, and then share with you some ideas, and that will change your life. Okay, again, he says that have the necessary material resources to satisfy your needs. You see, have the necessary material resources to satisfy your needs. Again, this is what we are talking about. Forget that thing about the rich man will die, the poor man will die. Everybody dies. Even Jesus died. And he's also following Jesus. You see. So let us eschew that negativity about rich people or richness being a negative thing. It is a positive thing. You see. At our time, we have come for a purpose. As Reverend and the enlightened masters say, this is not our home. Our real home is in inner space. So we have come for a purpose, and then when we have finished what we have come to do, we will go back to our home in inner space. So he's saying, have the necessary material resources to satisfy your needs. And then the last one is liberation of consciousness. You see, when they talk of liberation of consciousness, again, it is words. It is to know the truth of life. You see, to know without a shadow of doubt the truth of life. So when people come and tell you, oh, you see, now things are difficult too, or the end of the world is coming. Since you know you have liberated your consciousness, you know the truth of life, you know that such a person has nothing to offer you. He has nothing to offer the world. Help to change his consciousness. Let him know that God is the only life there is. And once God has not died, creation has not ended. In fact, creation is moving on and on and on. You see, many years ago, when we entered the spiritual path, there was no mobile phone. You see, there was only the landline. And anytime you wanted to ring, you had to go to a phone booth or maybe the office or something to make a call. Now we have mobile phones, And on these mobile phones, everybody, now when you want to call abroad, you don't have to go to P&T and book a date. You can easily just take your phone. Oh, Cyril, how are you? Immediately he gets, oh, Derek, how are you? Oh, Reverend, how are you? Oh, John, how are you? You see, why I'm bringing it in is that life is going on. And by going on, more and more inventions are coming. So let us forget about this thing about the world is coming to an end. If it were coming to an end, it would have ended long ago. You see, rather we are seeing life moving from glory to glory, from more things to more things. And many more wonderful lectures will come your way. I want to thank you very much for listening to me.